Dave Coombs and your Talk of the Town team. Mornings on 100.7 FM, WUTQ.
Welcome back, 9:14 on the Talk of the Town with Dave, Jay, and Sam. Our weather forecast looking good according to Jill Reel. In fact, sunshine outside our studios right now at Canal Park. And the hurricane, Joaquin, perhaps bearing down on the East Coast. We'll be keeping an eye on that with weekend activities and your chance to join us for Hocus Pocus on the Canal coming up in just a few minutes on the show. Right now, welcome in my friend, comedian Paul Mecurio on the show. Hey, Paul, how are you?
Good, man. How you guys doing? Nice to talk to you again, Dave. How's everything? Good?
Good. Things are good. I know you're going to be playing at the Funny Bone in Syracuse this weekend. Thanks for getting back in touch. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to it. I always have a great time. It's a beautiful club, and I'm psyched to be coming up. I work on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert, so we're going to tape the taping tonight, and I get on a plane and fly up.
All right. Good deal. I know you were a former lawyer. We have our legal correspondent, Mark Walber, sitting in studio with us today and every Thursday. Why did you make the switch from lawyer to comedian, Paul? Explain that, please.
Exactly. Well, Your Honor, someone was like, "How can I give my mother a heart attack in 30 seconds?" I know. I was like, I was
give us
doing
the facts,
like mergers
Paul.
and acquisitions law. I was doing like mergers and acquisitions law, like in New York. I was doing corporate law, and I'm like, I don't know. And I'm starting to write jokes as a hobby, and I gave him some jokes. I went to a private function, and Jay Leno was there, and I gave him some jokes. I said, I don't know if you need jokes, and he takes them, and he's like, he really does talk like they're letting a helium out of a balloon very slowly, right? It's like unbelievable. And then the next day he called me and said, I'll start hiring you to send in jokes for the Tonight Show monologue. And then the next week he did one of my jokes on the Tonight Show, and it blew me away, and that's how it started. And people say, and then he said, go try the jokes out, and I did. And I really got hooked on doing the stand-up myself. And people say, did you know you were going to be a comedian? I'm like, no. They were like, were you funny? And I would be like, yeah, I was always the funniest lawyer in my law firm, which
you're doing
like
mergers and acquisitions. It doesn't take much.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's kind of like being the sexiest IT guy, you know? I'd say these like really wacky things to get laughs from the other lawyers, you know, stuff like, we can't do that, that's unethical. And they would laugh. And then people hear you're a corporate lawyer, and that's like considered the word, like you're evil, you put people out of jobs, you're evil, people would be like, oh, you killed kittens, and I'd be like, we would outsource that. And so that's kind of how it started, and you know, it was, and my family didn't understand, because I come from like a very Italian, like kind of blue collar family, and you know, and when people hear Italian, by the way, they think of either mafia or plastic on the furniture, you know, like one of those houses. Our house wasn't like that. Our house was a pigsty growing up. People think, oh, you had that one room where there's like, you can only go in the room on like Christmas and Easter, and there's a picture of the Pope, Jesus, and Frank Sinatra on the wall, right? Like, our house was a mess because my mother ran a furniture business that she started, so that was the focus of her life, right? This is how bad our house was. This is how messy it was. Someone broke into the house and they took the stereo. They were in and out of the house in like 2 minutes. They didn't touch another thing in the house. A cop comes over to take a police report, stands in the middle of the living room, and he goes, oh, my God, what kind of an animal would make a mess like this? Like, yeah, the guy broke in and ransacked the place. He left salami out all day and threw a bra on the lampshade. He was crazy. So.
Damn criminals. Talking to Paul Mecurio, my good buddy, and you and I, our love lives are a little bit different. I'm on my fourth wife, Paul, and it's a great one, by the way. I finally did it right. You, on the other hand, met your wife in high school, right?
Yes, I did. I wish I could be on my fourth wife. No, I'm just kidding. We met. Yeah, I was a senior. She was a junior. We met in high school in Rhode Island, Providence, Rhode Island, where we grew up. And then we dated. I don't know, how long did you date your first wife? Was it a long time?
Probably a year-ish, I guess.
Yeah, there you go. You gotta do what I did. You gotta make sure. I dated her 13 years before we got married. Yeah.
But she stuck with you through the whole transition of being a lawyer and going into comedy. How was that?
She did. She's pretty patient. Although she takes charge. Like, we dated 13 years and then she proposed finally. I can't tell you her exact words because I get like really emotional, but I remember them ending with, or get off the pot.
Yeah.
And we're completely opposites. Like, and I don't know if you guys are opposites or similar to your wives, but I am like very like all over the place. I'm like Mr. ADHD. I'm like moving on, and and she's very methodical, like one thing after another. Just focus on that, and like I multitask constantly, even in bed. Like my idea of romantic evening is making love to my wife while I'm on the phone with my broker, eating Chinese food, watching a football game, and having a satellite dish installed. You know, it's like 1,000 shares sounds good. That tastes good, honey. That's so good. Right there's good. It's good. You know,
nice. She must feel so special, Paul.
Out. Yeah, exactly. Well, you got to make that. That'll work for you with the fourth wife. That and don't be around much. That's a good thing I do for my wife. Is I travel on the road, and she goes, when you're away, because we have a kid. It's very calm when you show up. It's like a hurricane hit the house, so it's better if you're not here. You know?
Hey, I know you've worked with a lot of different hosts before. Working with Stephen Colbert, how is that, Paul?
Oh, it's great. Big alcoholic, but I'm telling you,
come on now.
No, Stephen and I go back to working on the Daily Show together. I was a writer there. He was a correspondent, and I was doing some correspondence stuff too. And it's great, and the show. It's a beautiful theater. It's the Ed Sullivan Theater that the Letterman show was in, and they redid the theater. They uncovered this. They put a drop ceiling in for acoustic reasons back in '93 when Letterman went in, and you uncover it, and it's this beautiful dome, like with cathedral, it's like a cathedral dome with like stained glass windows everywhere, just like incredible. And it's been great. And working on the show is really exciting because all these big stars are coming through, and like George Clooney and Scarlett Johansson, and by the way, I found out something. Just a little tip for you guys: if you touch a star like Scarlett Johansson, they will tase you, and it does hurt. They will tase you, we had some cool guests on the Daily Show. I worked on that show too, but. It's not the same. You don't get quite as excited standing next to Doris Kearns Goodwin as you do Scarlett Johansson.
Yeah, I hear you.
It's just a different animal.
Did you meet Donald Trump when he was on?
I did. I called him amazing, spectacular, you're fired, and he hired me immediately.
Not tased.
No, he's a bam. He's a very big guy, and we were talking, and I said, I'm sorry to hear, you lost your Celebrity Apprentice show to over the Mexican remarks, and he said, "Yeah, it's not a big deal, but I got a new reality show. It's called The Amazing Racist." So I think he's going to be fine. Yes, and Ted Cruz was there and met him, and he got booed a little bit by the audience. I don't know if anybody saw that, and Stephen was a gentleman and said, "Please don't boo my guest." And I don't know if they were booing him or people are just frightened by him because I don't care what your politics are. I don't like any of these politicians, to be honest with you, none of them on the left or the right. But Ted Cruz looks like that villain that ties the damsel down to the train tracks. Mm-hmm. The train's coming like Snidely Whiplash. All he needs is like a cape and a hat, And we had Rubio on. I'm sorry, Jeb Bush on. And I want to get Ben Carson on. That would be awesome because I'm trying to figure out who keeps shooting him with a tranquilizer dart just before he publicly speaks, because that guy is just a ball of energy to Ben Carson.
He is calm. There's no doubt about it. Hey, maybe they were just calling Cruz by his name. It wasn't booze. It was just Cruz. Maybe that was...
Exactly. That was the other thing. It's like, well, maybe, was he booing? Was he being booed? Was he not being booed? Really, that's a question for the states. That's how I put it.
Sure.
I just say, leave that thing for the Senate floor. That's where that belongs. But and then we had, I don't know. I want to Bernie Sanders on. Very nice man. But I'm sorry. He reminds me of my uncle who hangs out at Thanksgiving dinner and talks the whole night with a little bit of food on his lower lip. I'm just not sure he's my guy.
You wouldn't vote for your uncle, I assume, then, huh?
No, I'm not sure I would, And then he has all these supporters like, all these endorsements from like these B-level celebrities like George Wendt and Mia Farrow. And like, do endorsements really matter? Like, do people walk into a voting booth and go, I wonder what George Wendt would do? Like, is it really like sort of their,
yeah, I hear you.
Hey,
very strange. Speaking of which, would you endorse our show before you leave? Give us an ID with your name in it and Talk of the Town. Go ahead.
This is comedian Paul Mecurio, and you are listening to Talk of the Town, the best radio show in America. If you don't listen to this show, you're not an American.
I love you, Paul. Hey, good luck at the Funny Bone this weekend.
Thanks, man. And I got a podcast on iTunes I'd love people to hear. I've interviewed Paul McCartney, Jay Leno, Stephen Colbert.
I've heard those. Those are great. Yeah, go ahead and plug it quick, and then we got to go.
Yeah, it's Paul Mecurio Show on iTunes, and I got shows Friday and Saturday and Sunday at the Funny Bone.
All right, thanks man.
Guys.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.